to my channel. Today I'm going to do May's birth story and the days before that kind of led up to the birth and the birth as well. I'm super excited to share this. She is sitting right here next to me asleep, so if you hear any little noises or anything, that's her. But anyways, let's get on to the video. So I'm going to be looking down because I wrote everything down on my notebook just because it's a lot of details and it's hard to remember everything. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. So anyways, my due date was January 19th of 2016, and that day came and went, and I kind of figured that would happen just because I wasn't really progressing at all. So I had my 40-week appointment actually a few days after my due date. I had it on January 21st, and starting from 36-week appointment, I think, is when she started checking my cervix to see if I was dilated at all. And I wasn't at all before this time. And then at my 40-week appointment, she checked me, and I was finally dilated to 1 centimeter. And I mean, to any other person, that might be, oh, just 1 centimeter. But for me, since I wasn't progressed at all, that was a huge thing for me. And I was super excited, and I was just so happy, I remember, because, you know, that means that it's coming. It might not be today or tomorrow or the next day, but you know, at least your body's doing what it's supposed to do to have a baby. So anyways, after she checked me, she asked me if I would like a membrane sweep, and I was like, sure, yeah. If that's gonna kickstart me into labor, then might as well try it, and if it doesn't, then, you know, I'll just have some cramping or whatever, you know. So little did I know how much membrane sweep would hurt. I heard women saying, you know, it was uncomfortable and just not pleasant, but this was a very, very painful thing. So I believe what they do when they do that is, you know, they stick their finger up and then they just kind of scrape along the cervix. That's what I'm guessing happens. That's what it felt like. And she probably did it for a couple minutes. I would say like maybe 4 or 5 minutes. And it was really painful. I'm so glad I had my husband there with me because he was able to hold my hand and, you know, give me some comfort because it was very painful. After this happened, my doctor let me know that, you know, you're going to have some cramping and you might start having contractions. Don't worry. You know, she just let me know once they're like a minute long, every 5 minutes apart, then you can come in and we can check you and see if you're ready and all this stuff. Or it might not even do anything, and we'll wait till your induction day, which was set for, was it the 24th? Yeah, January 24th. So it was, the induction date was only 3 days after this day. So anyways, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have this baby either way. So anyways, she did the membrane sweep, and then at around, let's see, that appointment was in the morning at like 9 or 10. I got home around 11 or 12, and I just kind of laid around and whatever. Even though my doctor said, you know, do some walking and, you know, that'll kickstart it, I was already starting to feel some of the cramping, and I just wasn't feeling very good. So I decided to just lay down and take a nap. I started getting contractions around 4 to 4:30 that night. And they weren't really contractions. I didn't know they were contractions because when you have never gone through that before, you're just like, what is this? You know, I thought maybe it was just a little bit of cramping because it was a similar feeling that I had gotten before, that at that time I didn't know were Braxton Hicks, but they were, I guess. Kind of felt like gas pains a little bit. So anyways, those started around 4:30, and my husband was at work, so I just kind of texted him, let him know, hey, I'm having cramping or contractions. Not really that consistent. They were probably around every 10 minutes apart, only lasting like 20 seconds long. But I just want to let him know. Didn't want to freak him out or anything. But of course, he texted me back saying, you know, should I come home? You know, do you think this is anything? And I just let him know, you know, just wait. We'll wait it out. I think it was this was a Thursday night. So yeah, I was just like, you know what, just stay at work and, you know, it'll be a normal night. Well, anyways, he gets home from work, we ate dinner, still having cramping at around every 8 to 10 minutes, lasting about 30 seconds long. So I was like, you know what, this might be something. Let's go walking. But where we live is in Utah, so in January there was snow everywhere. And it was snowing, so it's not like I could just go out and go walking, especially by myself, because I could slip and get hurt. But I decided that we could go to Walmart because it was like 9 o'clock at night by now. and the only place that stays open is Walmart. So we decided to go over to Walmart and walk around Walmart a few times. So we did that for about an hour, and meanwhile I'm having contractions the whole time. And you know, we'd be walking and then I'd get a contraction, so then we'd have to stop, breathe through the contraction, and then keep walking. And that's what we did for around an hour at Walmart. We went back home, and I really felt like that helped a lot. By this time I was having contractions, I would say every 6 minutes apart, lasting about 45 seconds, 40 to 45 seconds. So that night, I tried getting some sleep, and if any of you women have had contractions, sleeping doesn't happen while you're contracting very regularly. It's really hard because, you know, you'd be about to drift off and fall asleep, and then boom, another contraction would hit, and you know, you have to breathe through it, and it would just wake you up. So didn't get any sleep that night. And then that morning came, and my husband decided to take work off that day because, you know, I was still contracting regularly, at least I think by that morning it was around every 45 minutes apart now, and they were lasting still around 40-45 seconds. They were very painful at this point. And so my husband decided to take the day off of work, and that we we're gonna, you know, see what would happen. The afternoon came, I believe it was around 12 o'clock, and these contractions were still the same. And so I decided to go to labor and delivery. So we went, they, you know, hooked me up to all the monitors. The nurse checked to see how much I was dilated. And this nurse did not have tiny hands, let's just say that. So it was very painful when she checked me. But when she checked me, I was still only a centimeter. She said almost 2. So I was progressing a little bit, but not enough. And also my contractions weren't really even showing up on the chart that they have. Even though they felt very painful to me, it wasn't showing up on the chart. And so I was very frustrated at this point. And so I explained to her that my induction date was going to be in 2 days, and I was already having regular contractions since the night before. And she was like, okay, well, we'll see what we can do. So since my doctor was she doesn't work there on Fridays, they had to page her instead of calling her. So when they paged her, she wasn't answering, so she wasn't able to come. So basically the nurse was like, you're gonna have to go home. We can't, you know, keep you because your doctor isn't answering, and unless something were to happen, you know. So, and nothing was happening. So she just let me know that for me to get a little bit more sleep, that she could give me a shot of morphine in my back. And so I did that, and we went back home. By now it was around 2 o'clock. Went back home and got a little bit of sleep. It lasted I think 4 hours. So I got 4 hours of sleep, which was really nice, because little did I know that I wasn't gonna get sleep for days after that. So that was Saturday's the next day. So I still didn't sleep that Friday night because the morphine had gone away by then. It had worn off by then, and so I didn't get sleep Friday night either. And I remember during these nights, I didn't want to wake my husband up, so what I would do is I would go out to the living room and just watch Netflix and try to just, you know, breathe through my contractions. This whole time I'm still contracting. So the next day, Saturday, had come. So now this is 2 days since I started contractions. This was January 23rd. I was still contracting every 3 to 5 minutes. And we were packing up our stuff in our apartment, because we were going to be moving like a week after this, and we knew we'd be in the hospital. So yeah, we're a little bit crazy. We were moving in the middle of having a baby. So we were packing, and I remember walking around packing. It really got my mind off the contractions. I would still have contractions all the time, but I remember just getting up and doing things, you know, to get my mind off of it instead of just laying around. So we did that all day. My mom came and helped us. And then that night I went over to my mom's house to take a bath, because at the time in my apartment we only had a stand-up shower. We didn't have a bath. So I went to my mom's house, and she had a nice big jetted tub, so I just took a bath in there. And the contractions were still very, very strong, every around 2 to 5 minutes apart. So at that point I knew, okay, these are real contractions, because they were not going away, and I was in the bath for probably an hour. And then that night is when I also lost my mucus plug. The week earlier, every day I had been losing, I think, a little bit of it, but then that day was the actual like mucus plug that came out. So again, that night didn't get much sleep, and then Sunday morning came, January 24th. This is the day of my induction. The contractions got so bad and so painful, to the point where it was so unbearable. Some were even happening every minute apart, and they were lasting almost a minute long. So they were back to back to back. But for the most part, they were around 2 to 3 minutes apart, I would say. And so I decided that morning, I want to go to the hospital. We could at least just check to see where I'm at. I don't think they would send me home because I'm going to be induced tonight anyways. But anyways, I was sitting there waiting for, I think, my husband to get ready or something. And so then I ended up falling asleep on the couch, and my husband didn't want to wake me up because he knew I hadn't gotten much sleep. So he fell asleep too. So we both fell asleep, and this was like 8 o'clock in the morning. We woke back up, and it was like, I don't know, maybe like 10. And then I was still having very bad contraction, and then I just thought to myself, you know what, I don't want to go to the hospital right now, because if I do, I don't want there to be a chance of them turning me away, sending me back home, because that's just going to make me feel very, very frustrated. So I'm just going to wait it out, handle the pain, and then we'll go and be induced tonight. That night came. The induction was set for 8 o'clock that night, so we went there, and they got me all in my gown, and they hooked me all up, and the nurse checked me, and she said that I was 3 centimeters dilated. So I had dilated from the previous time that I had gone there 2 days before, and now I was 3 centimeters, and I was 80% effaced. And she was like, wow, like, this is really good, this is progress. And so she decided that they were gonna wait until midnight and see if I had progressed anymore, and if I had, they weren't going to start on the Pitocin because I was basically already in active labor. So this was at midnight. She checked me, and I was dilated to a 5 and 90% effaced. So she was like, okay, you're progressing. Let's wait 2 more hours and see if you're still progressing. So she came in. Oh, and by the way, when I first went in, since I was already contracting, they put an epidural in me probably an hour after I got there, because I was already having regular contractions, and they were like, it's your choice, it's up to you. And I was like, heck yeah, put that thing in me. So they did that, and that wasn't painful at all, I don't think. My husband was in front of me, holding my hands while the anesthesiologist was in the back, doing what he does. And I remember at one point I was just, closing my eyes, getting the shot or whatever. And the nurse looks over at my husband, and she says, are you okay? And I look up and I see him, and he's as white as a ghost. And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. And she was like, are you sure? I think you should sit down. So he went and sat down, and I can tell he looked very queasy, but he didn't want to let me know because he wanted to be there for me. And so what happened was he just got a little sick from, knowing what they were doing to me. So he just sat down, drank some water, and he was fine after that. They then put the catheter in me because when you get the epidural, you're numb from the waist down. So you can't get up and go to the bathroom if you need to. And I've only had one other experience of a catheter before, and it wasn't a very good experience because I wasn't numbed or anything. But anyways, this time they did it, and it didn't feel that bad at first, but then I think my epidural it was either wearing off or it wasn't really numb in the places that I needed it to be. So the catheter was probably the most painful part about everything. I would say it was even more painful than, it was close to the pain of having her, pushing her out. It was very painful for me because it was just like a sharp, sharp pain I could feel in my bladder. And I kept telling them that, and they'd keep having the anesthesiologist come and to give me a higher dosage. But the thing is I felt everything numb. It was numbing my contractions. It was numbing parts of my legs, but it did not numb my lady parts that needed to be numbed. And that was the only part, and my bum too wasn't numb. So I was kind of like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? I can't do this, I can't do this. And my husband was like, Summer, you can do this. At least it's, at least you can't feel your contractions. I know you can do this, you can be strong. So, we did it. And so anyways, they checked the next time at 3:30 a.m. and I was still at a 5. So she's like, okay, we'll put you on a small drip of Pitocin to get things, really starting. So then she came back at 6, and I was dilated to a 6 and 100% effaced. And then meanwhile, this whole time we're trying to get some sleep, but it didn't really happen because they come and check on you a lot. So anyways, then they came and checked me at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was dilated to an 8 and 100% effaced. And when this had happened, when they told us this, I knew, okay, this is what my mom told me, when you're at an 8, it goes fast. So I decided to call her and tell her, hey mom, just letting you know I'm at an 8. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna come right now, and then hung up. And I was like, I don't think it's gonna be that soon, but okay. And then probably 5 minutes went by, and I was like, I'm gonna call her and just let her know that she doesn't need to come, because I don't think it's gonna happen very soon. I think it's gonna be hours still. So I tried calling her and she didn't answer, and I was like, crap, she's gonna get here. So anyways, she came, and I was like, Mom, like, I don't think it's gonna be that soon, but you know, you can stay, whatever. So her and my sister stayed in the room with us, and so they let my doctor know what was happening. So my doctor came to break my water. So she came, broke my water, and then at 8:45, so 45 minutes after they checked me and I was at an 8, I sat there and I was thinking, I'm getting this really weird pain in like my bottom area, and this is weird. But people always explain it as, you know, feeling like you have to poop. It did feel like that, but it also felt, I don't know, it's a very weird feeling to describe. So anyways, I kept feeling that, and I told the nurse, I said, something doesn't feel right down there. I feel like maybe it's an urge to push. It just feels like pain.
5, excellent. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. Excellent. Deep breath and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Deep breath.
There we go.
1, 2, 3,
You got this.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good.
So they knew her heart rate was dropping and that they'd have to get her out, you know, as soon as possible. So she told me that they were gonna need to use the vacuum to get her out faster. And if you don't know what that is, what they do, I don't even know what it looks like because I didn't look, but I think it's like some circular type of thing, and they, you know, stick it on the baby's head and they kind of pull. My husband said that they pull very hard. Like, he was kind of worried, but you know, obviously the doctor knows what she's doing. So anyway, she pulled, and I think in about, I would say 2 or 3 pushes with the vacuum, she was out. And it just felt like a huge release. Kind of felt like jelly or jello, like a bunch of it just coming out of me. Like, it just felt so weird. I can't even describe it. But I just remember that day being so, it's so hard to remember that day. It was such a blur. I don't even remember the feelings that I felt, but I remember the moment she came out, and I was just, you know, it was such a relief. And I just remember thinking, my baby's finally here.
Quiet delivery. See if we can go below the cords to see if she has poop in there. But
Yeah.
our respiratory therapist is in a C-section, so that's not going to work.
Okay.
So we're just going to let her try.
So after about 35 minutes of pushing, May Lynn Fadley was born at 9:24 on January 25th. She weighed 7 pounds 11 ounces, 19.5 inches long, and she was the most beautiful baby that I had ever seen in my life. At the time I didn't realize this, but apparently the cord was wrapped around her neck twice. That's why she was having troubles breathing inside of me. So the doctor was like, I'm sorry, Colton, like, I'm gonna have to cut this cord off. So she cut the cord off of her neck because she couldn't even unwrap it. It was that tight. There was a complication. When she came out and when she was through the birth canal, she had pooped meconium and had swallowed some, so she was having troubles breathing when she came out. She was grunting more than anything, and at the time I had no idea this was going on. Apparently right after they had taken her, because they didn't even set her on me or anything, they took her right away, and the nurse for May had to put a tube down her throat all the way down to her stomach and pump out the meconium. My husband said they had to do it about 6 or 7 times. and he could tell that she was not enjoying it. He just wanted to comfort her, but the nurse wanted May to cry as much as possible to get all of that crap out. Well, meanwhile, my doctor was stitching me up, and I had gotten a 2nd-degree tear. I had torn inside and outside, so it was a pretty bad tear, but at that point I didn't care, and the epidural was not even there anymore, so I felt everything, and I was okay because I knew that my baby was here and that she was safe for the most part. So anyways, after about an hour or two, they brought her back to me, and I got to try breastfeeding her for the first time, and she latched on right away, and it's been great ever since. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It was an overall great experience. There were some, bumps in the road, but I'm just glad to have her today and that she's healthy and strong and a happy baby. She's the best baby ever. She rarely cries, and I love her to death. And this is her. This is little Maylin Fadley, and I love her so much. And I absolutely love being a mommy. It is my favorite thing ever. It is the best job, and I can't wait to see this little one grow up and to become, a little girl and then a little young woman someday. And I'm just so excited for all of our adventures to come. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys got something out of this, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!